The Indiana Fever general manager just sat down and revealed the team's entire free agency strategy. And honestly, it's bigger than anyone expected. While the world was focused on Caitlin Clark's viral moments and the ongoing best player debates, the Fever front office was quietly building a juggernaut around her and Aliyah Boston. The GM just confirmed the signings, explained the moves, and dropped hints about what's next. And the message is clear. The Fever aren't just trying to compete, they're trying to dominate.
I remember when the draft lottery happened, actually.
You do? Okay. Because that was like, I actually looked it up before this.
It
That
was
was like
between
December.
Indiana and who was the other team that is second best odds?
Oh, I don't remember second best.
Who
I
was
know
the-
LA had the second pick.
Maybe it was
The Indiana Fever front office has been busy, very busy. While fans were panicking over fake rumors and debating whether Caitlin Clark is the best player in the league, the Fever GM was quietly assembling a roster that looks like a championship dream. And now, for the first time, she's revealing exactly what happened behind the scenes. Let me take you inside the press conference that has the entire WNBA talking. The GM sat down with reporters, not to address drama, not to deny rumors, but to announce something the Fever have been building toward for months. The signings are official, the roster is set, and the message is clear. We said from day one that our priority was building around Caitlin and Aliyah, the GM told reporters. We wanted players who fit, players who would buy into our culture, players who wanted to be here. And I think we accomplished that. Let me break down exactly who the Fever signed, because the list is impressive. First, the cornerstone, Kelsey Mitchell. The Fever re-signed their star guard to a historic supermax contract, making her the first million-dollar player in franchise history. Mitchell was an MVP finalist in 2025, averaging over 20 points per game. She's the perfect backcourt partner for Clark. Then the fan favorites. Sophie Cunningham re-signed on a multi-year deal. Lexie Hull is back. Lou Samuelson returned after being waived last season. Emma Cannon is coming home. And then the new faces. Nneka Ogwumike, the former MVP and 8-time All-Star, signed with Indiana. Monique Billings, Clark's Team USA teammate, is in. Tyasha Harris, the Noblesville native, came home to back up Clark. That's not a roster, that's a super team. But here's the thing about the GM's announcement that everyone missed. She didn't just list the names, she explained the strategy. We didn't just sign the biggest names available, the GM said. We signed the right names, players who fit our system, players who understand their roles, players who want to be part of something special. That's the difference between the Fever and other teams. They're not collecting talent, they're building a culture. And the GM just confirmed that the culture is centered around two players, Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. Everyone else, they're here to support, to defend, to shoot, to rebound. But the engine, that's Clark and Boston, and the rest of the league should be terrified.
The Fever GM didn't just announce signings. She explained the method behind the madness. And honestly, the strategy is genius. Let me break it down for you. The GM identified 3 specific needs for the Fever roster: shooting, defense, and veteran leadership. Every single signing addressed one of those needs. First, shooting. Caitlin Clark is the best three-point shooter in the league, but she can't do it alone. Defenses will double her, trap her, sell out to stop her. That means other players have to make them pay. Enter Kelsey Mitchell. Enter Lou Samuelson. Enter Sophie Cunningham. Mitchell shot 40% from 3 last season. Samuelson is a career 36% shooter from deep. Cunningham shot 37%. Add Clark's 42%, and the Fever have 4 players who can knock down threes at an elite level. Defenses can't double Clark if everyone else can shoot. Second, defense. The Fever were a below-average defensive team in 2025. They gave up too many points in the paint. They struggled to guard athletic wings. They needed help. Enter Nneka Ogwumike. Enter Monique Billings. Enter Tyasha Harris. Ogwumike is a former Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Billings is a versatile defender who can guard multiple positions. Harris was SEC Defensive Player of the Year in college and has earned a reputation as a pesky on-ball defender in the WNBA. That's 3 players who can immediately improve the Fever's defense. Third, veteran leadership. The Fever are young. Clark is 23. Boston is 24. Mitchell is 29, but she's been in losing situations her entire career. They needed someone who has been to the mountaintop. Enter Nneka Ogwumike again. Ogwumike has won championships. She's been an MVP. She's the president of the WNBA Players Association. She commands respect in every room she walks into. That presence in the locker room? Priceless. We didn't just look at stats, the GM explained. We looked at fit, we looked at character, we looked at what each player could bring to our culture. Nneka brings leadership. Kelsey brings scoring. Tyasha brings defense. Monique brings versatility. Every player has a role. That's how you build a championship roster. Not by collecting the biggest names, by identifying needs and filling them with players who fit. The GM just revealed the strategy. Now the Fever have to execute it.
The Fever GM said something during the press conference that didn't get as much attention as the signing announcements. But honestly, it might be the most important thing she said all day. Caitlin and Aliyah are the core. Everything we do is built around them. They're not just our best players, they're our leaders, our identity, our future. Let that sink in. The Fever GM just publicly declared that Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston are untouchable, not just in terms of trades, but in terms of the team's entire philosophy. Everything is built around them. And that makes sense when you look at the signings. Kelsey Mitchell is a scorer. She's not a playmaker. She thrives when someone else sets the table. That someone is Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham is an enforcer. She's not a creator. She thrives when she can focus on defense and spot-up shooting. That's possible because Clark draws all the attention. Nneka Ogwumike is a veteran leader. She's not the focal point anymore. She thrives when she can pick her spots and provide stability. That's possible because Boston and Clark handle the heavy lifting. Every single signing was made with Clark and Boston in mind. That's not an accident. That's a strategy. And here's the thing about Clark and Boston together. They complement each other perfectly. Clark is the outside threat, the shooter, the playmaker, the one who forces defenses to stretch. Boston is the inside threat, the rebounder, the rim protector, the one who punishes defenses for overcommitting to Clark. Together, they create a nightmare for opponents. Double Clark, Boston eats in the paint. Sag off Clark to protect the paint, she pulls up from 30 feet. Try to switch everything, Clark will pick apart mismatches. Boston will post up smaller defenders. There's no right answer. There's no defensive scheme that stops both of them. That's why the Fever GM built the roster around them. Because when you have 2 players who are that good, that complementary, that young, you don't mess with it. You add pieces that fit. You build a system that maximizes their strengths. And that's exactly what the Fever did. One analyst put it perfectly. Clark and Boston are the best young duo in the WNBA, not just because of their talent, because of their fit. They make each other better, they cover each other's weaknesses, and now they have a roster built specifically for them. The GM confirmed it. Clark and Boston are the core. Everyone else is here to support them, and that's why the Fever are championship contenders.
The Fever GM revealed a lot during her press conference. The signings, the strategy, the commitment to Clark and Boston. But there's something she didn't say, something that everyone in the room noticed but no one asked about. The salary cap. Because here's the thing about signing Kelsey Mitchell to a supermax contract. Here's the thing about bringing in Nneka Ogwumike, Sophie Cunningham, Monique Billings, and Tyasha Harris. It's expensive. Really expensive. The WNBA salary cap for 2026 is projected to be around $1.5 million per team. Mitchell's supermax alone takes up nearly $1.4 million of that. Yes, you heard that right. Kelsey Mitchell is making almost the entire salary cap by herself. So how did the Fever afford everyone else? The GM didn't explain.
And honestly, she probably can't. Salary cap machinations are complicated. There are exceptions. There are loopholes. There are ways to structure contracts that spread money over multiple years. But here's what the GM's silence tells us. The Fever are all in. They're not worried about the future. They're worried about right now. They're pushing all their chips to the center of the table because they have a window. Clark is on her rookie contract for 2 more seasons. Boston is on her rookie contract. That's 2 superstars making relatively little money. Once those contracts expire, once Clark and Boston command supermax deals of their own, the Fever won't have this kind of flexibility. So they're spending now. They're building a super team now. They're going for a championship now. The GM didn't say that. She couldn't. You can't publicly admit that you're selling out the future for the present. But the moves speak for themselves. Mitchell on a 1-year deal. Ogwumike on a short-term contract. Cunningham re-signed but with team-friendly terms. Every single signing is designed for the next 2 seasons. After that, who knows? But the GM's message was clear without her having to say it. The Fever are trying to win a championship, and they're trying to win it now. One fan put it perfectly. The Fever are going all in. They're not worried about 2028. They're worried about 2026. That's how you build a champion. You take your shot when you have it. The GM revealed the signings. Her silence revealed the strategy. And the rest of the league? They should be very, very nervous.
So, where does this leave us? The Indiana Fever GM just revealed the team's entire free agency strategy. The signings are official, the roster is set, and the message is clear. The Fever are all in on winning a championship. Kelsey Mitchell is back on a historic supermax contract. Sophie Cunningham re-signed. Lexie Hull is staying. Lou Samuelson returned. Emma Cannon came home. Nneka Ogwumike signed. Monique Billings joined. Tyasha Harris is backing up Clark. That's not a roster. That's a statement. But here's the truth that nobody's talking about. All of these signings mean nothing if they don't win. The WNBA is full of teams that looked great on paper and fell apart on the court. Chemistry is fragile. Injuries happen. Egos clash. Roles get blurred. The Fever have to prove that they can put it all together. The good news? They have the right pieces. Caitlin Clark is healthy. She's motivated. She's coming off an offseason where she reminded everyone why she's the face of the league, not just with her play, but with her personality. Aliyah Boston is ready to take the next step. She's been overshadowed by Clark's stardom, but make no mistake, she's a superstar in her own right. Kelsey Mitchell is back and better than ever. She's the franchise's first $1 million player. She's an MVP finalist. Nneka Ogwumike brings championship pedigree and veteran leadership. Sophie Cunningham is the enforcer, the voice, the one who will say what needs to be said. And the role players? Billings, Harris, Hall, Samuelson, Cannon. They know their jobs. They've bought in. They want to be in Indiana. The GM revealed the strategy. The signings are official. Now, the only question left is, can they win? The 2026 season hasn't started yet, but Fever fans are already dreaming. And honestly, they have every right to, because this team looks like a champion. So, here's what I need from you. If you made it to the end of this video, you just watched a franchise transform itself into a championship contender. The Indiana Fever GM revealed the strategy. The signings are official. The roster is set. Now, they have to prove it. Subscribe, hit that bell icon, because when the 2026 season tips off and this new-look Fever takes the court for the first time, you're going to want to be here to watch it happen. The GM spoke. The roster is built. Now, it's time to win. I'll see you in the next one.